Chapter 1. The Echo of the Past. Zara Nix stared at her reflection in the mirror, her gaze carrying centuries of silence. She had always known there was something more, something waiting for her, but the truth never came easily. She had grown up in a world where pleasure was a whispered sin, hidden within the walls of a house that breathed prohibitions and rules. The belief that her body was a temple, yes, but only a temple of punishment, had made her a prisoner of her own desires. She was a strong woman, yet the invisible chains of her upbringing still clung to her ankles, a distant echo that kept her from moving completely. She often wondered if there was space for her to be more than this, more than the reflection of a woman who had always followed the path of what was right, acceptable, expected. But now, something inside her was beginning to crack. The nights had grown longer, and the silence of her room wrapped around her in a different way. At first, she fought against the emptiness and unease that coursed through her with force. But then, she realized the emptiness was not an enemy. It was, in fact, a space where something new could be born. No longer the shadows of her childhood, but the light of a freedom she had never known. Zara was tired of being everything to everyone and nothing to herself. It was as if, with every breath, she was reinventing herself, surrendering to her own allure without guilt, without fear of judgment. True transformation wouldn't come in grand gestures, but in small, subtle deviations from the path she had been told to follow. It was there, in that lonely room, that the echoes of her soul began to speak louder. She needed to listen to herself, because only she could rewrite her story. The echoes that had once bound her were now becoming the anthem of her liberation. She reached out, her fingers grazing the skin of her neck. The sensation was new, her own touch on her body, without shame, without haste, was something entirely different from anything she had ever known. These simple gestures, once forbidden, were now an uncharted territory, a map of pleasure she was determined to explore. In the depths of her eyes, the reflection staring back at her was stronger than ever. She was finally beginning to see herself, without masks, without taboos. Zara Nix was about to discover what it truly meant to live, and it all began within herself.